Well, that was anticlimactic.
Hello and welcome to the 3,000 subscriber live stream. Uh, Thinking back on when I first started this, I never would have thought that 2 years I would have 3,000 subscribers, but I love you all 3,000, and we should have some people that'll pop in and out of here, some authors, maybe some booktubers. But right now I have the one and only Warlock, uh, my best friend Nathan, who's, if you guys watch any of these live streams, you've probably seen him on about 90% of them. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of chat about all the things that we've been reading and watching and doing, uh, and some cool stuff that we have up and coming here on the channel, and some cool writing stuff that's going on. Well, thank you, D, for popping on. Appreciate you watching. Another great channel to go check out over there. But Nathan, what have you been reading recently?
Actually, not a whole lot.
Did you finish? I know you got me onto what's the series called? Is it Troy Rising? Is that the name of the series?
Absolutely. I finished all of that months ago. Probably around August or so.
Yeah, I got the third book still to do, but man,
brother, what are you doing with your life?
Well, for the viewers, Troy Rising, if you have watched Expeditionary Force, I know like a lot of people who have subscribed to the channel subscribed just because I do the Expeditionary Force videos, but it's really similar. You have this guy who basically we get attacked, right? We get attacked by these aliens, but God, it's how would you describe it? Because I don't want to. You're better at kind of telling these without ruining them for people. Because he cornered the market on maple syrup, and that is so interesting.
So, all right. So this series is basically Tomorrow USA. Like, it's happening in, like current day timeline. Everyone's going about their business. It came out roughly circa 07, I think. So, smartphones aren't a big thing yet, but yeah, we got roughly same modern technology. And the main character, Tyler Vernon, he's a very unlucky bastard, at least initially. So this guy went into science fiction. Like, he was a science fiction author or comic book writer, writing up all this really good science fiction, speculative fiction about aliens and all sort of shit. And then aliens actually show up. And everyone's like, we don't want this in any of the speculative shit. We want real life. We want what's actually happening. And so then he loses his career. So he's like, all right, well, I'll fall back on my secondary career, which is in tech. I'll fall back in IT. There's always a safe space for that. And then the aliens give everyone technology that completely makes that obsolete. So he has absolutely nothing. So he's like, well, shit. Both of my planned careers are now in the toilet. What am I doing? I have to go work on a maple farm with a crotchety ass little like just nasty bitchy lady. And I
love it. I love that interaction between him and her is like everyone has had that.
Everyone's hated boss. Everyone's had like the person of somewhat quasi authority in their life that they just hate. And that woman personifies it. I don't remember her name. I just call her old crotchety bitch because that's what she is. Yeah. And the aliens show up, and through random happenstance, he's at a Comic-Con convention or something like it. And one of the aliens show up there. And he's sitting next to this alien, and the alien's like, hey, you're Tyler Vernon.
Okay. All right. Hold on one second.
What? Boom.
There he is. Chaz.
Hey, Chaz, how's it going? Hey, you trying to like me?
There we go. Congrats,
Chaz,
man.
you always have the best shirts, man.
Why, thank you.
Oh, Chaz, man. Yeah, I had to try to get you on here, man, because you are one of the original people. You've been on my videos since almost the very beginning.
Yeah, man. I love your channel and I love hanging out with you. And I couldn't not at least pop in and say congratulations for 3,000. That's huge, man.
Yeah, man. It's so weird. It's like there's certain like milestones where you feel like, oh, it's we're doing something. Like when you get your first 100, and then you get and then it's like 5, and then when you get to 1,000, and then from 1,000, then it's like when you hit, and I feel like 3 is the next one, and then maybe 5 or 10 would be but I don't know. It's so funny how sometimes it feels like you're rocketing, and then other times it feels like you're not getting any traction, and you're just like, ugh. Oh, there's Britton. What's going on, man? Another good guy in football tuber too. But actually, Chaz, I did want to ask you, because I watched your video and I posted it out for other people. How goes the the book? What are we looking at now? I know I just got to see the cover, banging cover, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's going well, man. I mean, if everything goes according to plan, it'll be out October 1st. So,
Nice.
yeah, I just gotta. It's on my Kindle right now. I'm doing the final read through, like trying to read it like everybody else would read it,
Yeah.
and finding things I need to fix and stuff. And so, yeah, that's kind of the final step for me. And then I have to start looking at like sending out arcs and different things like that. So, yeah.
So are you going strictly through Amazon, or are you going to try and do the what is it, Ingram Spark and all that stuff?
I may do Ingram Spark for the physical book, but I'm definitely going to go exclusive with Amazon for the ebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so much like talk about like Audible and Amazon and percentages and stuff. And the thing I tell people, I'm like, yeah, could it be better? It could be better, but it could be a lot worse if they weren't doing what they've been doing. Like because they have what, 75% of the ebook market. So it's like, I mean, you look at people like Will White, he's exclusive and he's one of the biggest, self-published guys around. I mean, it's just the place where you can make all your money. I mean, if you do get to a certain spot, I could see you just divesting. You're like, all right, well, I just want to reach everybody now that I already have 100,000 fans that are going to buy my book every time I write it,
Right.
maybe. But yeah, man, I'm super excited. So did you, I wanted to ask you a question. Like, so did you take time off of like editing and reading your book to get it all out of your mind? So when you could do your final read, it was like kind of new to you?
I did, yeah. In fact, after I finished the initial first draft, I think I didn't touch it for about a year and a half.
Wow. Okay, that's.
And then I came back to it, and I'm like, I really should get working on this because I don't want to be a total George R.R. Martin, right?
Oh my
So,
gosh.
but yeah, it did me good. It did me good to have the space from it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, because normally as soon as I finish, I'll let it sit for a few days, then I'll go reread through it, and then I'll kind of send it away and just stop reading it, because it just becomes like, I don't know, you feel like you're too close to it. You can't really judge it the way a reader would judge it if you're like, as you're just constantly going through.
Yeah.
But
I totally agree.
so is this book of yours, it's in the same universe as the first one, right?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's a complete standalone, but it has minor ties to
Okay.
to the universe that book one is set in. So yeah, so it is kind of a multiverse, but I'm not doing, and I don't think I'll be doing like major connections like Sanderson does, to where you can't just pick up any book of mine and read it. you know
Well, I've wondered about that with the Cosmere. I mean, like the Way of Kings and Oathbringer, those have a reading order, correct? Like
they do.
those are all tied in where you have to read them a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got one more book in Era 2. What is it? I don't know, is that the Lost Metal?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got one more there, and then I can start on the big books.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
and yeah, that's what I'm trying to work on now. I'm picking up Bands of Mourning next month, and then after that I'll need to read The Lost Metal, and then I'll be all caught up on the Cosmere. And but
wow.
I've
Yeah,
been trying to.
I felt like I'm so far behind. Like, he's
And
got
oh
so many
yeah, and
books out.
that's easy to feel that way, man, because he's written so many books. But luckily, I started early enough that I was able to kind of work my way through it. And
Yeah,
um,
I definitely feel like, and I'm assuming like everybody kind of goes through this when they first start on BookTube, unless you've just been a voracious reader your whole life. Like I read so much more now than I did before,
oh yeah,
but
me too.
I'm just starting to get to the point where I'm like caught up with a lot of these big series. Like, for when as soon as I got on, I'm like, man, everybody's reading this series, but I need to finish this one. So I feel left behind, and I'm just starting to get to the point where it's like, all right, I've read the Greenbone Saga, I've read the Dark Tower, Dresden Files, you know, but yeah, it's when you start, at least me, I felt so far behind.
Yeah, I felt really far behind as well, and I thought I would never catch up. And even with the next uh, Stormlight book coming out in December, I just made a commitment this year. I'm like, I have to finish Mistborn Era 2 because I know if I don't, I'm going to be spoiled for it. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, go into the next Stormlight book and not know what's going on. So I figured I better get to it. But yeah, yeah,
So
it's wild, man, trying to keep up with the Cosmere. So even though I do kind of have a multiverse with my books, I really wanted to make it so that uh, people didn't feel like they had to read all of my books to know what's going on.
yeah, I've kind of got the same thing going on. I have my main trilogy, but then I have Gunslinger, which is at this point is a standalone, and then I
Hmm.
have my short stories that, if all goes as planned, when I get back from vacation, I'm gonna hear what do we got, Nathan? Less than a month. We'll
Yeah,
be
roughly.
I'll be out in Colorado visiting Nathan there. But I think
Nice,
right when I get back, fingers crossed, might have my short story collection published. So
woo,
we will
nice.
we will see. I just got the rough draft of the cover and all that good stuff. How do you guys find the time to write, work, and read? Okay,
Yeah,
you
good
know that.
question. It's called
Yeah,
no sleep. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. You
See,
go first,
as you beat
Chad,
me
because
to it, I was going to say
I have a
sleeping is
little bit of a
optional.
I have a little bit of a rant when it comes to this, so you can go ahead first.
Oh no, man. I just my lately my reading and my book tubing have been like
Mhm.
my primary outlet, because I, with my full-time job and everything, cuz the way my work is set up, I do chat support, so I can read in between,
Nice. Yeah.
when work is slow and stuff like that. So that's how I find time to read. And I could write during that time as well, although I've kind of chosen to focus mostly on reading. But yeah, so I kind of do my writing in my, you know, off hours. So
Yeah, I am so like weird when it comes to writing and stuff because I work I would live an hour away from where I work, so I got 2 hours of drive time, 8 to 10 hours of work or whatever, depending.
He likes it though.
And
He's really weird. He enjoys the
but
commute.
but like I write in between, like whenever I have I have like a 2 minute or 3 minute gap in between where I'm going here, going there. So I'm just like, and I'll use like dictation sometimes too. Like, not supposed to do that, but I'm just like, oh yeah, da, 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 and then like sit it down and like go on to the next thing. But yeah, like you said, it to me, most people, if they want to write, they can write, but it's like you got to sacrifice something here or there to do it. You know, so
Like good sleep.
It's like you get home, you have, I don't know, you get home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you say your bedtime's 11. Well, you got 6 hours. So I guess less TV, more writing. There's always time to do it, but like I find myself in the same hole, like you talk about, as I've gotten more serious, about booktube and YouTubing and trying to make better thumbnails and this and that. It's like that does cut down on the time that I write. And yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm trying to do more on the booktube and all that, but I had a little bit of a head start before I started booktube because I had like two books ready to go and then a half a book written. So I'm trying to stay a little bit ahead. I think I was just looking at, if I can get my book out in April, I'll be averaging like 7.5 months in between each book that I've published. And that's not too bad. I mean, that's not, some of these indie people are putting out like, 5 books a year or something like that. I'm like, you guys are out of your mind.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah. And you got like, and some of them I'm sure are high quality books, but some of them you gotta kind of wonder, like, are those 5 books you're putting out a year, are they quality books?
Yeah. I mean, have you went through the proper, like, have you went through the proper editing, the proper beta readers, and like how do you have time to, because I mean, I have some great beta readers, but like I try not to put, I don't want to put pressure on them. It's like they're doing it for free out of the, because they are excited to do it. And then a lot of them are like, oh, I get to read a book before it gets published. That's, but like, you don't want to be like, hey, we got to get this done inside the next 4 weeks so I can get this 3rd book published this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've actually had Nathan alpha reading my book 5, which has been pretty fun for me. I don't know.
Oh, it's been great. I've especially speculating after the fact, and constantly seeing your shit-eating grin. That's always fun.
Well, that's my favorite thing about alpha and beta readers is like, especially if you're not giving them, like, I don't know how, did you give your beta readers the whole book at once, or did you give them like a certain amount of chapters at a time?
I gave them the whole book at once. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got the whole thing, and
just like, here.
Yeah. And we did it through we did it through Google Docs so that they could make live comments and stuff. Yep. And that got a little bit chaotic, but it was helpful.
Yeah, my producer, my lovely wife over here, she helped me set up a thing through it's, what is it called? It's kind of connected to Google Docs, but it's like Google, is it Sheets or Google something? But it's like where I normally, how I do is I give them like 6 chapters, and then there's a questionnaire that I attach to the email, and that'll take them into it takes them into a Google questionnaire.
What kind of questions
and I can ask them, I'm like, okay. And, in the certain chapters, I can be like, okay, how are you feeling about this character? What did you like the most about this section? What did you not like? And then I'll say, like, what are you predicting will happen in the next 6 chapters or whatever, so I can kind of gauge if I get my rules. If I get about 3 people or more saying the same thing, I'll either know that I need to cut that thing out or rewrite it. And if they're saying it's really good, then it's like, okay, I know I got this. This is working perfectly for me.
That's a really cool idea. I hadn't even thought about that. That's a really good way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe I'll look it up and see how we set that up, and I could send that template over to you if you want to
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Go ahead and pull him up. Ah, there he is.
JCM Burn. There he is.
Chaz, Nate, Joe, congratulations.
Hey, man, I appreciate you jumping on here. I know you've been super busy. I've seen you on a bunch of different videos, and you got like, go ahead and introduce yourself if people don't already know you.
Oh, I'm JCM Byrne. I'm author of the Hybrid Helix, Partial Function, and a weekly free e-zine called Grim Dwarf. And I just came from my wife's special St. Patrick's Day dinner.
Oh gosh, is that
Nice.
today?
That is today. So apparently there's this Irish dish where you cook like mashed potatoes with like cabbage and onions and bacon in it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Keep talking
Yeah.
dirty, man.
Yeah, Cole Cannon. It's some good stuff.
That's it. Thank you, Cole Cannon. Yes, I never heard of it before today, but apparently it's a thing, and I ate it. And
Yeah,
it's
I've made
delicious.
it a couple of times. It's super tasty.
I love spuds, and I'm on a keto diet right now. I can't have any. So I have been eating nothing but mashed cauliflower and rutabaga.
Cooked
You ever had rutabaga?
cauliflower not cooked is delicious. When you cook it, all the flavor's gone.
You gotta mash it. You gotta smash that stuff into a paste, and then stick garlic and butter.
Make
in
it sound better, Nathan.
Well, it's got the right consistency. It just doesn't taste like potato. Rutabaga is closer, but rutabaga also stinks like cabbage. I love the keto diet so much.
I can't. You know what's weird? If I do it for too long, I can't sleep.
On keto?
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
tried it a couple different times, and my sleep quality goes through the floor. Otherwise, I'm okay. But I don't sleep
How
well.
long before that happens? I'm kind of curious.
I mean, within a few weeks. Like once I'm definitely in ketosis.
Oh, I'm cheating like a mofo when you guys are visiting. That's just happening.
That's the best part of the keto diet. It's the cheating.
That's right.
Oh man, I don't know how. I don't think I could do it. I just don't think I could go on keto. I like, oh god, start everything pasta. Just
Dude,
Oh yeah.
In a way, it's easier than moderation because you just like can't do any pasta. It's not like, oh, a smaller portion, you eat a little bit.
yeah.
You just have to do none. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's a little easier. I mean, I felt good otherwise when I was on it, and I lost weight. But
the longest I was ever on keto was about 6 or 7 months, and that I ended up losing about 70 pounds. It was grueling. It was rough. And then I gained all of that back after COVID started. Yeah, good old COVID shutting down them
a lot
gyms.
better shape before COVID.
So basically, now I'm doing lots of repairing. Everything. I mean, and I'm past the expiration date on your body anyway. Like that's about 30 or so. If you hit 30, all those expirations start going, and things just. You wake up with a broken foot, and you're like, "How the hell did that happen?" I just laid in a bed.
Let me tell you something. 50 is not easier.
Even more things start going out of warranty.
I've been hearing
I
everybody
don't
talk
doubt
about
it.
the
I'll be
Mediterranean
49 this
diet.
year.
Is
I'm
that the new
almost at
fad?
50.
Are we doing?
Oh, Mediterranean's awesome. I could actually maintain myself on that. It's just I'm trying to lose a lot of weight quick. I'm trying to do it the unhealthy way. I want results and I want them now.
Dude, I mean, I've never been completely out of shape, but the problem with me
the
is
only shape that you are is gangly.
dude,
You have never been out of shape.
I'm skinny fat. So
Yeah.
as soon as I put on any weight, like, oh, you're 6'3", oh, you weigh 190, you're nothing. It's like, yeah, but I look like an Ethiopian kid. Like it's all in my stomach, and I'm just like, ugh.
Hey man, just as long as your hormones don't get all messed up and you start lactating, that's when you know you're really screwed up.
But for me, it's like, okay, I just cut out sugar. I just cut out pop or soda.
This stuff.
Yeah, I cut
Coke
that out
Zero.
almost completely.
It tastes like garbage.
And I lose 10 pounds in a month. Like, gone. Like,
it makes me very sad.
Is the evil.
Coke Zero.
Well, I mean, you're not even getting sugar in most things anymore. Like soda, you're not getting sugar in that stuff. It's high fructose corn syrup, and that's even worse for you.
Hey, but all the scientists on the commercial say it's all the same thing. It's high fructose corn syrup and sugar is exactly the same.
Yeah, tell that to board certified dietitians that tell you how it spikes your blood sugar.
Oh man. But yeah, Joe, I wanted to ask you about how's the Patreon and Grimdorf and everything going?
It's slow. I've got a handful of people reading it every week, which is kind of cool, and not really more than that, which I don't know. I was hoping for a little more engagement, but I'm trying to dissociate from the results. I'm just going to keep putting it out there, and then, give it 6 months or a year. And I think after a year, if 50 issues come out and I don't have engagement, and I'm getting like 18 downloads for each new issue, I'll probably just drop the whole thing.
Yeah. Hey, if you want, man, you can drop a link in the comments for any. I think we got like 20 people on right now or so.
There you go.
Yeah, just drop your link. Hey, Chaz, you can drop your link in for your book too, man.
Oh, okay. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.
I don't have any. I'm not going to be one of these guys. Like, I'm celebrating you guys too, because this is my favorite thing is having you guys on, just chit chatting about writing and reading and all the craziness that comes along with it.
So that will get you the collection. I just dropped it in comments.
Nice.
That's all the downloads. So all the 14 issues that are out so far, I think, or 13. I think I actually missed the 14th. I'll put it in right now. Story Origin makes this very easy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see if it pops up here.
You know something I saw in the comments?
What's that?
All right, so somebody talked about losing 3 stones in 6 months, and I can respect that because I looked up how much that was. About almost 50 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I used to watch The World's Strongest Man, and everything was in stone. Like,
dude,
he's coming in at 20 stone or whatever it is. Like, oh man, the Atlas stone weighs 100 stone.
All right, so you know how mainly Brits from my experience, but you have the Brits that go, well, these damn Americans, they won't use the metric system. They always have these weird measurements, and then they go on like a foot to a mile and all this other stuff. They use stone. God damn it! What the hell is that?
Here's the thing.
We're all full of shit. Is all I'm saying.
I know the rest of the world will kill me for this, but actually, since we do have this from the UK here.
We've triggered the patriotism.
No. So, say we're over in London, right? And you got the weatherman or weatherwoman or whatever. Does she say, "Oh, it's 7.6 degrees outside"? Do they put the points? Because you got to, right? Because our measurements are exact. Like, you can't really break it down any further than the way that we do it. It's like it's 101 degrees. Well, does that mean over there it's 33.6?
Where are you seeing these points? I've never seen this.
So if they don't have 30 points, degrees, they're not Celsius. Very accurate, right?
29 degrees Celsius, so forth.
Because Celsius is what? Like, Celsius is I don't know how many degrees in every Celsius there is.
Degrees Celsius is 9/5 of a Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so if we say it's 100 degrees, are they going to say it's 37.77?
No, they'll probably just round it.
But then you're going to be missing like 2 or 3 degrees.
It's a rounded number. We're not talking about money percentages here.
Yeah, but it's a big difference. If you were telling me it's 67 to 71 degrees, that's a big difference.
Yeah, to us in this bullshit Fahrenheit crap. 32 degrees freezing, man. 32
I'm telling you how you feel.
What the hell is that? Oh,
hey,
nobody harder
I
on
don't
you
mess
than
with
your
goods,
wife.
okay?
That's good stuff.
All
right, we all just need to throw it all out and just move over to Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Just take Celsius and add 232 or 72 or something like that.
Hey, don't listen to my wife, okay? That's why we live out in the country, okay? So I can use the bathroom wherever I want.
Hey, man, all I'm saying is when you can go outside and relieve yourself outside, nothing better.
The Nature's bathroom, man, I'm telling you.
Okay, there's some things
I don't agree.
Because if you say there's nothing better, I'm like, okay, we got to try some other stuff.
It's just Nathan just sheltered. What's going on?
I'm not saying that's not good, but
there are a few things that are above that if you try them out.
Some things that are better, right? If you had bacon,
have bacon.
All right. God. I'll give you bacon. Bacon is better. Although, did you guys hear about apparently there's an article or something that's talking about undercooked bacon giving people worms now. So chewy bacon, inferior, like I have always said.
No,
chewy bacon inferior.
Dangerously.
It'll kill you.
Chewy bacon is worth the risk.
Enjoy your brain tapeworms.
I'm more worm than man. Okay, I am more bacteria.
Like Futurama.
I'm more bacteria
like Futurama
than okay, Leto the second.
Oh.
All the food I've eaten off the floor in my life. They're like 3-second rule. Every time I pick up something, I say 3-second rule. They're like, Joe, that's been sitting there for 2 days.
Dude, no. The best part is when it drops down and you get down there at just 3 seconds, you got, man, we almost had to switch over to the 5-second rule.
Oh my gosh.
What's the 5-second rule?
Oh. So Joe, are you taking a break from writing, or are you still on the grind since you just had two come out recently?
I finished book 5 in the Hybrid Helix, and I just got it back from beta readers. So this week I'm doing another pass to try to fix the things that they found, and it goes to my line editor Monday, a week from tomorrow. So I have 8 days to get everything fixed for my beta readers, which is that's doable. Like the kind of problems they find are usually things where I just have to usually tweak a few lines.
Okay.
Like one character is a little too familiar with another. You just have to take away like a nickname use that isn't really appropriate. It's subtle stuff like that that they're catching. By the time I get it to beta readers, I fixed the bigger issues.
So do you have it completely edited before you send it to beta?
I have it just by me.
Right? Okay, I was going to say that's just what I do too. I don't send it to my actual editor.
Now, are you guys using
until after beta?
Are you using machinery or are you eyeballing it? Like, are you putting it through text editor to check for mistakes?
Grammar,
line by line.
I have used Pro Writing Aid and I like it. It's a little tedious, but I also have a person that I hire to actually go through it, and she's done so many of my books now that I feel like she really knows my voice and stuff, and she'll find stuff that Pro Writing Aid won't. Because some of the stuff is subtle. Like it's not actually wrong. She just will say like, this character's tone is a little off in this chapter. This really isn't.
That's an elemental editor too.
That's a good editor
example,
right there.
right? Characters using a contraction, whereas usually I have that character not use contractions. This is something writers do. Some writers do. She'll notice it. Pro Writing Aid will never catch something like that because it's not a mistake. It's just like this character wouldn't do that, right? So the machines won't do it, but she will, and she'll correct them. So she's expensive, but really good. So I don't know.
Wait till the AI gets that good. We got probably 4 months.
Oh my God, yeah. AI is just getting so much better so quick.
This is what I said.
it sucked like a year ago. And
Well, I
now
saw the Will
it's
Smith spaghetti video.
and now it is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the big thing now is the AI audio narrators.
Oh yeah.
Because they're already. Did you see this, Joe? Like the one-click AI Audible creation
Yeah.
thing from Amazon. That is super interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Amazon is just now like because I think they're doing it for what Kindle Vella or some they were doing some weird thing where you can sign up and you can use an AI in certain ways, but I don't think it's like site wide or whatever. It's
I
something
don't know
specific.
who they picked, but they offered it to me. They said for my books, like 3 of them, or not all of them. There's one they wouldn't let me do it. I don't know. I could not figure out why. I didn't do it, so I didn't like pursue it. But they said, "Oh, not this book, but these other 3. You want to make an AI audiobook? One click, we'll make it for you, and we'll put it on Audible, like no cost." Right. So for
Yeah.
free, I can just click a button, and they'll make an audiobook out of any of my novels and put it up on Audible, and then I get the money. I don't think I get the same. I don't know if I get the same amount. If the price is the same, it might be like a cheaper book.
Do you have any say on the voice, on the sound?
Okay, I didn't pursue it a lot because honestly, like I'd be very tempted, but I know the community is so anti AI. I don't need the backlash. So right now, I'm doing
Oh
it.
no, I'm not saying you even did it. I'm just curious
No,
if
I'm
you
just saying
saw.
that I didn't pursue it more because of that.
Okay.
If it were just me, I'd be more tempted. For me, it's an accessibility issue.
Yeah.
Right? I've got a good friend who's blind. He can't read my books unless I shell out $3,000 a book to get it read by a narrator. Like to me, like it's not this. And these AIs aren't. They don't steal the voices. They don't steal the thing. Right? They're trained by people who are paid to train the AI. It's not like Midjourney where they're stealing public artwork. Right? They're voice actors in a studio making the voices, getting paid. They know what they're doing, right? It's not so like it takes away some of the ethical issues, and it's an accessibility issue of people who can't read physical books. So I have very mixed feelings about it, but I'm not doing it. So anyone's watching me getting mad,
like, I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it. I'm not saying I'll never do it, but I'm certainly not doing it now. I'll make a big statement on Twitter.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
I know
the reason I'm asking is I'm actually very curious about the extent and the evolution of that tech. Like,
Well, I was
on its own voice. Is it using a unique voice, someone else's?
Well, I've missed with some of those, not for my books, but just to play with them. And if you just went on to one of the sites and just uploaded your manuscript and say, okay, here, give it to the voice and let the voice do it, it's not actually going to sound like the voice itself sounds good, but they don't have like
the
cadences and all
the
that
inflections.
Yeah, you have to go in, and there are types that you can go in and mess with, but like that's going to be a whole new job. Like people are going to be like, well, I can make a good audiobook for you cheaper than a regular narrator, but it's still going to cost you $150 from me because I got to go in and tweak everything to make it sound right. So that's going to be like an audio engineer is going to be making money off of tweaking audiobooks for AI.
I've already a company pitched me that exact service.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was like because they don't sound right out of the box. You have to mess with them.
It was like $100 per finished hour. We'll do the AI work for you.
Joe, how many? Do you remember how many words your first vampire book was?
89,000. Just a smidge under 90.
Yeah. So basically, back when you originally did that, and I saw it's roughest of rough drafts. It was basically an 89,000 word long run-on sentence. So you stick that in an AI, it's not even going to know what to do. The thing won't ever take a breath. It won't, you're not going to get any of the inflections because, the AI is looking for all of that funny little grammar stuff to tell it, here's a stop. I got to put in a breath here. Here's a comma. So this is like a list and, or he's going to say it like a list or there's so many little funny things that you can do. Oh, double quotes. This is emphasized, all kinds of little funny things.
Well, I do have a question for you guys, and especially like Chaz and Joe here, because, authors. Do you guys remember the big thing about the self-pub cover art scandal where the person, like, everybody picked who they thought, and was it Bob the Wizard or something like that?
Yep.
Exactly.
And he didn't, like, apparently he didn't know that it was an AI art. Here's the thing. That was a good cover, right?
It was, yeah.
It won.
Who cares? Like, I get it, like, but here's the thing, like, you can choose if you want to, when you upload to KDP, you can pick to have Amazon just create you a generic crappy cover if you want. So what's the difference between doing that and taking a job away from an artist and doing the AI thing? You know, it's like, I wouldn't do it just because I love my artist and he does awesome work, and I plan to stay. If we can stay together the whole time, that would be great. But like, what if you're like on a couple $100 budget, like you put all the money into an editor, right? And then it's like, well, I only this guy said he can make me a cover for $50, and wow, that cover looks really good. Are you gonna, like, I'm not gonna disparage the guy and be like, no, you should have paid what I have to pay for a cover, you know? I'm like, not everybody has that kind of money. You know, I don't know, you know, like, I would prefer that you go and either do the cover yourself or get an artist out there to do it. But it's like, I understand if you're, you know, a starving writer and you have no money, it's like, what are you gonna do? Now, if you're having an AI write your book, that's a whole different can of worms. Now it's all computerized. There's nothing real in the book.
Right.
Anybody wonder how we got here? Wasn't the AI supposed to, like, do all the bullshit, and we were supposed to be able to do all the artistic stuff? And now the AI is taking our artistic stuff, and good God, everyone has to do the slodge. Everyone's got to go to the canning factories.
Yeah, I want the AI.
So the AI takes that.
So I have more time to write instead of the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Something I've been figuring out recently is, like, I had a day off the other day, like, and I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna write all day, and I barely wrote anything. But I go to work the next day, and at work, I'm just burning through stuff. Like, every time I wrote like 1,000 words while I'm at work, and I'm like, what is this? What? Like, I don't know. And my wife's like, well, maybe you just have to be distracted. Like, you need to be doing other things, and it will give you ideas.
I think there's some truth to that. I think you got to get into the right headspace.
Dun.
You know, you're at home. You're not in that same headspace you are at work. You know, like you do a lot of walking at your job and everything. So you're off doing kind of an automated or a subconscious act. You know, as you're walking around and everything, you've hit that unconscious level. So then you can actually let your mind sort of flow. When you're at home around the wife and the kid, there is no flow. There is stop screaming and, like, what do we have for dinner? And, oh, I got to clean and all this other shit.
Well, yeah, I'd say the first part of that, but Dwight, I have a feeling Dwight has been following the channel. He's wanting to know. April 8th. Yes. You know what? For the 25 people that are in here, yes, Jim Butcher will be on the channel April 8th. I believe we're doing it at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so 10 p.m. his time, because he's out around Nathan's area in Colorado.
I haven't found his address yet, so I can't kidnap him, but, you know, I'm still working on it.
You know what? Like, my wife came up with a cool idea.
Oh God, I'm afraid to hear it.
No. We kind of told you already, but, like, she's like,
get in the studio,
as soon as I told her I got the interview, she was like, okay, well, you're still working out times and stuff, right? She was like looking up studios in Denver, Colorado.
That would have been cool.
And she's like, you could ask him if he wanted to do it in person when we come out in April.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. So yeah, I guess he's gonna be bouncing in and out doing book tours and stuff, but that would have been pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you know, I didn't follow into the bathroom or anything like some people we know, but
it's
almost.
He's like, I was close. I wanted to do it.
I was at that one moment of like indecision. Do I turn around and follow him back through the door, or do I keep walking? And one time in my life, I made the right decision.
I was going to say, I think you chose wisely there. That would have been so awkward.
I did, but choosing wisely is so against my brand, you know.
Yeah.
So unlikely.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I was drinking too. I mean, I wasn't even sober. I still made the right call. I was like,
God. You went into the bathroom,
all the wrong calls.
had the urge to pee.
Drink all the
thought you were at the
calls
urinal and
downhill.
ended up pissing on his leg or something. It would have been bad. Then he'd be like, "What the hell?"
I love you, Jim.
Yeah, JR. When I found out you first got that interview, I was like, "Damn, man, that is wild."
Well, and that was the crazy thing is because I tried like a year ago, and they were like, "Yeah, he's too busy," you know, writing. Pete next to me, and I was this T-shirt. Oh my gosh. But like, yeah, I didn't get any. Like, they were like, "Yeah, he's not doing interviews right now," and then
at least it wasn't Jim Butcher Pete next to me, and all I got was this filled mason jar.
All I got was this jar, and like, don't worry about it. But yeah,
sorry guys, I couldn't help it. It popped in there.
Yeah, I messaged him like beginning of November, and then like 3 months later, I got an email. They're like, "Yeah, sure," and I was like, "Sure, all right."
Wait, is this real life? Am I getting punked? Where's Ashton? Where's Kutcher at?
Well, it's crazy too because like I was like Kelsey and everybody was so pumped that like this like if you were like who could like in the book sphere like who would you interview, and they're like that's my pick. That's like so any I'm gonna try and come up. I got like
it'll start and it's like James Butcher and you're like, well, fuck you.
Oh God,
I don't want to talk to you.
It's crazy. Like, but like I see some of these, some of these people that just like Mike. I can't wait to get to the point where I'm like Mike and Daniel Green, where I can just get anybody I want to get on. Like that would be.
Yeah, seriously. I'm still waiting to hear back from Neil Gaiman's team.
You know what's
funny?
Hey,
man. Like I said, I took 2 tries and like a 3-month gap in between them answering my last one. So,
Chaz, I don't know if you already know this, and I'm not saying do it like incessantly because you could come off stalkery if you do. But I know that he goes on Tumblr a lot. Have you try to talk to him on Tumblr?
Oh yeah, I follow him on several platforms. I'm not on Tumblr, but he loves that really platform. Active on all the platforms.
Trez is like, don't worry, I am stalking him. Don't you worry about that.
I haven't gone to that extreme yet, just because on his website he has a specific method where if you want to contact, if you
proper channels,
yeah. And so I don't know that it would be appropriate for me to hit him up on Tumblr or something like that.
If he's got his own proper channels, I think you're doing the right thing by following that. You don't want to, he's not going to get on if you piss him off, or you start violating some, his privacy or something. But we don't want to do any of that.
Yeah, he seems a pretty hard guy to piss off. I mean, he's a pretty cool dude, but I don't want to. I don't want to, I don't want to take a risk of pissing him off. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, because everyone deserves their own private. Everyone deserves privacy and stuff like that anyway. So I try to refrain from dumpster diving. Jim's trash or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Jim would definitely be my first pick too. I was the one who got Joe into the Dresden Files. It took me like 8 years. Like 8 years straight.
Nice.
Well, and here's the one thing I've noticed. I mean, now Joe and Chaz, we're involved self-published books, so like we're in there. But like, I have had a lot more luck in contacting traditionally published authors and like than I have self-published authors. At least the bigger self-published authors. I've tried. There's like it's like sorry, we're super busy, and I'm like, I'm just like, come on, man. No, like, but I understand, like, especially if you're self-published and you're selling tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of books. Well, then, yeah, you're probably burning the candle at both ends.
That's true.
Did you try to get a hold of Craig Allenson as well?
I tried to get a hold of Craig Allenson. I've tried to get a hold of Will White I've had Will White actually comment on my Twitter and stuff, but I mean, he's making an anime now. So what, I mean, I can't be like, why don't you come on my show and take time away from creating an anime that's going to cost you like $2 million.
So was it his anime and like his process that finally made you break down and admit that, animation's a good art form? Because I don't know about you guys, but he talks so much shit about anything animated.
I can't help it. Okay,
I personally think that the Dresden Files would be
should be animated. Yes, Jazz, we are on the same wavelength on this. Absolutely.
You know what? They can do stuff from the side stories on those, but if they make the show, it's got to be live action.
Dude, Game of Thrones, $2-3 million per episode. What the crap, man? Like, we could take $3-4 million, make like 5 seasons animated.
Yeah, like JR, have you seen Castlevania? Like,
I keep telling him this.
I have.
Do that for the Dresden Files.
The magic is like right off the Dresden Files page,
right?
I had him watch like the first season of Castlevania when he's out visiting like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
But that's not even when the really good stuff starts happening. Season 2 onwards, where the good stuff happens.
Nate, I'm not sure animation's as cheap as you think. Like, I think
it's about $400 grand.
I think it's more. Like the Kickstarter for the Will White for the Cradle thing was like $1 million to make like one episode. And I know like the good ones, like Arcane. I'm pretty sure Arcane was costing like $2 million an episode. They just had all the money.
Well, I
would love to see how much Vox Machina costs per episode, because I think that animation, just like Castlevania, perfect.
I was looking up something the other day. And I don't know if they said One Piece or something in that type of. I forget what I looked up, but something in that animation style, and it was like $400,000 an episode or something like that for 10. But again, like Will White is doing it all from scratch, so so it's probably going to cost more to get it started, kind of like video games, like or movies, like the first Monster Inc. cost way more than the second one, but that's because they built all the foundation and all that.
Absolutely. And I just looked up. This is just Vox Machina. I don't know about Castlevania, but they said it takes roughly $750,000 to make one 22-minute episode. Now,
there you go.
Take that, double it per, for like a 40-minute, hour-long episode or so.
So you need about $10 million to make a season or so.
It's cheaper than live action, but not by that much cheaper.
Now, I will say this too. Like, I don't know if they're counting the price that they're gonna, charge or the VAs are gonna charge. Like, let's be honest here. James Marsh is doing like 60% of the stuff on an animated show.
Yeah, he's 80% of the voice.
Still wants some money.
So half of the budget just goes into James Marsters, and then you don't have to pay anybody else.
Right? Yeah.
I mean,
and I see that as the biggest benefit of doing it animated is we get James Marsters for Harry
and
Bob. And for Bob, yeah. But then also, you've got the magic would probably look better animated.
But so much better.
Here's the other thing. Harry doesn't age like normal people. You can't do that with live action.
That's very true too.
Well, I mean, honestly, you're not gonna. It's probably gonna be like less than 10 years. I mean, you get somebody who's 25, movie magic 35. They're not gonna look. They're not gonna look that much different.
All right. Okay. So, MASH, Gunsmoke. How many other shows? Supernatural went on for 20 plus seasons, 20 years.
Yeah, but that's not happening anymore. You're
Don't say that bullshit. Don't say that. All right. Do you want the entire do you want the entire series of the Dresden Files adapted? Because my answer to that for me is yes. And it's like, what? What are we at now? 17 books?
17 books plus
That's
the short story books too.
all right. We can cut it down. We can truncate the first 3 into like one season.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so that's still 14 seasons. If you try to smash Summer Night and like Death Masks together, I will find you. I know where you live, and I will kill you.
Is
Right.
that they're going? Yeah, the first 3 are probably going to be in the first season, and then they'll probably do 2 books per season, or roundabouts.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many books you can do that with, because the all right. It's like let's see. All right, changes. You gonna add that in there with another season, another show, another book?
You shouldn't.
Exactly. That's a whole season worth of stuff right there.
I'm
Probably
telling
two.
you, Jim Butcher has said in his interviews. I don't know if I'll ask him this because I'm sure he gets asked this all the time. So I'm going to try and ask him some different type of questions. But I'm sure that's going to be one of the, like he said, he said, I am involved in the process of this. I'm not giving it away like I did last time. So I think that's going to be the one thing he'll give in on. He'll probably give in on like shortening up, like putting more books into seasons and stuff. Because if he has to choose between that and them missing with one of his characters, what are you going to fight for? You're going to fight to make each season a book, or are you going to fight to keep them from missing with your characters?
Not just that, he's not a young guy. He's not sitting around going, "You've got to do this in 25 years."
Yeah, I mean, he's
at our age, you're not making plans like that.
Yeah, but I just don't see how somebody else hasn't. I mean, I know the ownership rights of the stuff has bounced back and forth between
That's
Fox.
Something you need to ask him. You don't, you should ask him specifically, because he probably can't, due to lawyer bullshit, actually say specifically, but just ask, hey, do you have the rights, or someone else does somebody else have them right now? Because if he's got them, he can say he has them. If not, no. What are you going to get from that?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should definitely ask him that, because last I had heard, is it right? Nah, I'm right there with her.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. One question I do want to ask him, I am going to ask him, is, okay, he's 52 now, 53. Like, so he, as a writer, he's not really old. I mean, you got Stephen King, 76, 77, still putting out 2 books a year, or, and, George, he's not writing his book, but he's writing other stuff, and he's in his mid 70s. Sapkowski's in his 70s, but
Andre writing anything else?
What's that?
Is Sapkowski writing anything else?
Yeah, he wrote a whole nother series.
Not okay. That's fair. That's a fair point. I've never.
He wrote a whole nother series other than The Witcher. Right?
I'll give you that. That's fair. But I was thinking Witcher. I was like, has he written anything else in Witcher?
He did say that he is writing another Witcher book too.
Is it a continuation, or is it like a side project? Yet. Okay.
If it's a continuation, it's going to be the biggest book of the decade. It's going to be like people are going to lose their mind.
That really depends on how much hype's left over after the wet fart that was season 3 and 4 of the Netflix series.
I don't think that's going to hurt the book. I think people who are fans of the book are going to go get that book.
Okay. So fans of the book, but if that book decanonizes the games, the game fans are probably not going to read them.
If it's good, if it's a good book, I mean, people, But here's the thing.
Right, if it's good,
what I was going to say is what I'm going to ask Jim is, like, Jim's 52, 53, so not old as a writer, but he's at that point where he's kind of, a statesman. Like, so many people, he has influenced so many people to write. Like, if you've read any of the Iron Druid, 100,000% that I think his name is Kevin Hearn, or
yeah,
like. he read all the Dresden Files that were out by the time he started writing that book. Like that is such right, Dresden inspired, which is good. I'm on book 3 or 4. They're good. They're nice. They're short, fun books. But I want to ask Jim how he feels about like being so influential and being like considered the king of urban fantasy. He was probably considered that before he hit 50. I wonder how he feels about that. Like, does he feel like the old man now, or does he feel like I'm still in my prime and I have all of this around me, these people who are like, you're the influence for me,
Ask him what he thinks about the fact that like traditional publishers are saying that like urban fantasy doesn't sell, long series don't sell, and does he feel strange hearing them say that and being like,
observe.
who's not selling? Like,
who are you talking? Because he's one of the big. I mean, he's not just like well regarded. He's a big seller. Like,
yeah,
he's
probably,
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking to myself, if you're cutting out like romance, if we're pushing romance to the side, he's top 5 probably. He's probably you got Sanderson.
I got another question for him. You got to ask him this. Because he was coming out with the Dresden Files around the same time. The early books were released around the same time as the Anita Blake series by Laurel Hamilton. And I want to know if he was ever tempted to do the turn to porn like Laurel Hamilton did.
Oh, did she?
Because the first few Anita Blake books were like pretty much straight urban fantasy. They weren't really like heavy on there were romantic plot lines, but it wasn't like it became. It became housewife porn around book 4.
Oh my god!
And when they did, then after, you can even tell them this, they became smut, like straight up. And I kept waiting for Jim Butcher to do the same thing, so I thought that's what people were doing. And like, I'm glad it never happened because I'm not into that. But I mean, ask him if he was ever tempted to do the Laurel Hamilton turn on like book 5, where Harry's got to start having lots of sex with lots of women because to make his magic work. And
Oh, God,
here's the thing.
No.
You would think how some people talk about the Dresden Files, especially the early books. You would think that Dresden is out here, just making love to all the women, but he only has sex like 2 or 3 times in the entire 18 book series.
Dude, no. Even better than that. Okay, your argument can be enhanced with this. There is an entire subplot going on in God damn it, White Knight, where he is protected from Laura's shit because he hasn't had sex.
Well, no, because he hasn't had sex with anyone who he doesn't love.
Exactly, and it's been like way too long and shit. Like there's a whole subplot there.
Guys, what do we got? What's pathetic?
Oh, that's just
Poetry Isles, really?
Why do we have to live in this world?
Insert wizard step innuendo. Well, I don't know. Maybe we're just, do I overestimate how popular, because I know some people who read fantasy. I don't know anybody who reads poetry. I don't nowadays. Unless they're told to by a teacher.
To be fair, Barnes and Noble is not what it used to be either. A lot of those brick and mortar places have just gone to the pots.
Yeah, and they're pretty overpriced too.
I mean, look at the sales for sci-fi and fantasy on Amazon as opposed to poetry collections. The top sellers. It's not. I don't think you're going to see a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Now,
we're not in the age of Robert Frost and and all those people. I mean, I'm nothing against poetry. I'm like, I started off by writing stupid 16-year-old boy poetry.
I've seen it. It's awful.
In fact, if you want a good laugh, so we moved into this place about 3 years ago. We have a huge garage, and we just kind of threw a bunch of boxes on top of this table and haven't really messed with it. And I was just randomly a couple months ago looking through it, and I found my backpack from high school. And and it still had my notebook of poetry in it.
Oh wow.
I've got like 60 poems in there. I'm about to like just publish a stupid side thing and be like, stupid 16-year-old boy poetry. Here, read it.
Oh no, man!
How bad is the sound?
You should make Alexander read like one page of that every time he misbehaves.
Oh my god,
That's good punishment right there. You got to be creative with some of these kids.
oh my gosh, yeah. My son's actually reading. What is that? Five Nights at Freddy's graphic novel. They have like a whole like big set of them. So we bought like the first 3 volumes, and he's running through them. He's like, it's time travel, and there's like a portal, and
Oh god, they brought time travel to Five Nights at Freddy's.
something. It's
wild.
it's pretty gnarly, but he enjoys it. So yeah, anything I can do to get him to read.
Yeah.
Kelsey's like, do you think he's old enough for Dresden yet? Do you think he can read the first book yet? I'm like, I don't
He's
know.
10. He should be fine.
Joe's like, 10? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, nowadays I keep hearing that kids are getting to like 6th, 7th grade, practically illiterate and all this other crap. It just makes me happy I don't have any kids. It makes me depressed knowing I'm gonna have to live in a society with these people, though.
What's the big theory going around now is like people are forgetting how to write in cursive, and there's
dude,
and the big
ship
thing
has sailed.
what's the conspiracy theory behind that is, well, if nobody knows how to write in cursive, the people who do know how to write can go back and rewrite our original documents
Jesus.
that are all in cursive.
Oh gosh.
And if you never knew how to read them in the first place, you won't know that they've changed anything. I was like, that's a brand new conspiracy theory unlocked. Never heard that one before.
Yeah, and I never heard that one before either. That's nuts.
I was
There's
what
some
do you
crazy
guys
stuff out there, man.
talking about having time on your hands? Like, how are you coming up with? That's a good storyteller right there. That's a whole
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my goodness.
That's the next
History
national
is
treasure.
written by the
No one
cursives.
knows how to read the documents.
It's a living document. That's why we rewrite it every 5 years.
Oh my
Hey,
god!
I got a jet, guys. I gotta go start peeling potatoes. It's that time. So.
You bringing up Spuds again, you bastard.
How
That's right,
dare
you
you,
know.
Chaz?
Yeah.
All right, Chaz, man, it was great
I'll
talking to
be
you.
mashing them taters tonight.
Have a bite for me.
Good to see you, Jazz.
I will. Congrats again, Joe. That you just 3,000 subs. Sorry, I said Joe, and I know Joe's down here in the corner as well.
Hey,
so I'll
I
say
can't
JR.
help it.
Congrats, JR, on 3,000 subs, and also congrats to you too, Joe, for all the great stuff you're doing on your books.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys keep up the good work. Nathan, good hanging out with you again.
Always, man.
Appreciate it, man. Talk to you soon, Chaz.
Take it
Yep.
easy,
Talk
Jazz.
to you soon.
See ya.
Yeah, because I was just wondering kind of how the online your Patreon thing was going. I was thinking about doing the same thing and just doing like, well, not the exact same thing, but doing like, because you do a free tier, right, to kind of get people in, and then they can, I was thinking about doing something like that maybe once a month, dropping like a short story or something like that.
I have 3 or 4 people paying, and I keep telling them you don't have to. Everything I'm giving the free tier. Everything's going, but if you want to give me some money to support the project, I'll take it. I do. People are giving me money. It's not a lot, but I mean, it's I'm super grateful for what I'm getting. But really, I was hoping for a platform where I was getting, hundreds of downloads of each issue, and right now that's not happening. And I don't know. I'm going to put it up on Campfire, which is another platform that's run. One of the guys who one of their top PR guys is Jackson Dickert, who does the Between Two Ferns.
Oh, okay.
That he's Campfire. That he works for them, and I met him at DragonCon, and I'm going to put the stuff up on there, and that might give me a little bit of boost. Just another platform to spread the get more people interested. I don't know, like I could easily imagine like someone picking it up and like saying something, and all of a sudden I've got hundreds of new people reading it, or not. Like that might never happen, and then I'm stuck at like I just don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I just hit 3,000, so that's awesome. But it's like like you said, like doing stuff like you're doing and doing stuff like this, it's like it's not like easy. It's like you've got to come up with ideas. Like you got to keep writing and keep putting out content. And sometimes when you don't see or you don't see what you're like, man, I put a lot of effort into this, and I'm like this video or this this little story, and it's not getting the kind of traction you want. Sometimes you're like, man, like it really, you kind of have to stay in that grinding mindset, or you can just kind of get to the point where you're like really.
So there was this Microsoft executive, I forget who it was, but it was some guy. It wasn't Bill Gates. It was someone else, and he was super rich. And he said, someone said, like, do you ever learn anything from a video game? He said, I learned a lot playing a lot of solitaire. Like, what did you learn playing solitaire? He's like, I learned to give up early. Right? Because the grind is fine. And like, we hear about the people who grind and then break through and are successful. And we hear them and we're like, oh, if they'd given up, they wouldn't be the success they are today. What you don't think about is all the people who grind and grind and grind and never make it and just wasted all that time, energy, and money on the grind and never got anywhere. So you've got to kind of think about both sides of that you can grinding and pushing and keeping at it doesn't mean you're going to break through one day.
Yeah.
It means you might just die and not have broken through.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out like where you are. Like, I mean, this has been my journey as a writer, right? Figuring out like, am I okay with where I'm at?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. That's the biggest thing. It's like you'll see a bump up, like, the more books I put out and the more like I'll see a little bit of a bump, but it's like, you kind of have to be like, all right, I'm okay being here now, but like, do I need to be at a higher level 6 months from now?
Because 2 years ago, I was convinced that by this point in time, I'd be making 10, 15 grand a year, it'd be a nice little extra boost to my income above expenses. And then if I just stuck to it, and that's not where I'm at. So it's like, do I give up? Do you change your production values? I think I'm going to use a different cover artist for some of my covers, just because Chris won't give me 2 a year. He's too busy. So I'm going to have to mix it up. And I wanted to stick to one cover artist, but not if I want to release, 2 books a year. So, do you, I haven't done what I wanted to do with audiobooks. I want audiobooks of all the books, but it's just like, that's like 10 grand. Point to catch.
I mean, I've got lucky that my people they're not quite that expensive yet. It has gone up from the first to the second. And now my main guy who plays Simon is now the graphic audio guy who's Darrow, the main character from Red Rising in the graphic audio. So now I'm like, all right, Stuart, please do not jump me by like double the amount this next time. Like, I mean, not that he's hit me that hard, but like, the way I've talked to some other, audiobook, narrators, and it's like, well, I have to charge you this much because if not, I'm losing money, because I could be over here, making, $300 an hour or whatever it is.
Everybody's got to make a living, man.
Sorry, Nate?
No, all I said was everybody's got to make a living.
Oh, yeah. My narrators are on indefinite hiatus after some health issues. So now I'm like, ooh. So in a way that gives me a reprieve. I don't have to decide right away. If he's not working, I can wait. But then it's like, if he doesn't come back, do I just get a different narrator for books 2, 3, and 4, and 5? Or do I
try to find somebody who sounds very similar?
That's the suck part of the audiobooks. I mean, we to take it back to Dresden, we, at least Joe and I, saw what happened when they, what was book 13, Ghost Story. And they, hey, there's a little monkey.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went from,
tired.
Oh. Yeah, this is my little guy. He's been reading the what is the graphic novel you're reading? It's the
I forgot.
it's Private Night at Freddy's, isn't it? Is it the origin story?
I don't know. What's
All right.
that?
All right, I think he's a little camera shy. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Thank you.
It happens.
I'm going down. Thank you. Bye bye.
See you, little dude. But yeah, they went from James Marsters 12 books straight to John Glover, and I love John Glover. He's great, and everything. But the whole time, I'm like, this ain't Harry. What the hell is this?
Yeah. I think what's crazy? Like, on BookTube, you'll hear some people be like, "Oh, certain fandoms are like toxic or they're bad or whatever," but like the Dresden fandom, it was good the way that they interacted with Glover, because they were like, "You're not Harry. We like you.
Yeah,
you didn't do bad. You're just not James."
That's how I felt about it.
Like, I think almost every Dresden fan I've ever heard has said that. They're like, "Yeah, he's good. We didn't dislike him, but you got to get James back."
Lisa, I have not.
Do you see profits with audiobooks?
No.
If I did, I would say turn it around and do the second audiobook. I mean, this isn't my day job. I'd be happy to do that. But I have not broken even on the first one. So,
yeah, I will. It's funny. I will say that I see kind of semi-regular sales, not quite as much as I do actual books, but the audiobooks have sold more than I anticipated them selling this early. So I mean, that's good. And like honestly, I think I make, even though there's all this big thing about Brandon Sanderson and Audible, and I actually think I make more per book than I do, or per audiobook than I do actual physical book or ebook. So I mean, I wish we could set our own prices, or at least I wish they would give us like options.
Would you go down?
To go down, go up, whatever.
You think that's creating a sort of a hurdle, an artificial wall from people just purchasing your stuff? It's too much.
I mean, I used to know. I used to look every so often. I mean, of course, you have your one credit, and what's the credit cost? Like $14, $15?
If you have the subscription service, it's like $14 a month or something, and they'll give you that credit.
I actually don't think my book is like any. I want to say my book is about the same price if you don't have any credit. So it's not. It's my book. They haven't set my book really high. And of course, my books are like 300 pages, so they're not like. Because I've seen like Brandon Sanderson books, and like books that are 700 pages are like $50 if you don't have a credit or you don't belong to Audible. And that's the one thing I will say, kind of the good and bad of Amazon and all that, is like, I remember when Audible wasn't around. Yeah, that's a $40, $50, $60 is what a CD or a cassette of a book cost back in the day. It was expensive.
So my book's $24.95. And when I sell one, I think I make like when someone uses a credit for it, I think I get like $4 or something. It's not a lot.
Yeah, I thought I worked it out to where I was in the $4s or something like that.
It was in that ballpark, which doesn't really make sense. I should be getting 40%. 40% of 25 would be like 10, but it doesn't for some. And I find Audible's reporting is very confusing, whereas Amazon's is not.
Oh yes, that is the one thing I've actually heard. Because KDP used to be something else back in the day. I forget what it was, but it was a different thing, and they kind of all folded it together. And with this whole AI thing and them sending out emails, I've heard the rumor is they're about to just fold Audible into KDP. And it would be great, like you said, with the reporting. The reporting for KDP is super clear. You know what you've sold, you know what you got. Whereas Audible, it's like, isn't there like 4 different types of things like 4 different types of sales, like whether it was they bought it themselves as a member, they bought it, they're not a member, they
And they
paid a
never
credit,
funded
they didn't
it.
pay.
So your
It's
payments,
like,
well, no, Audible combines the payments, but the reporting is all broken up by country, and it's very confusing.
yeah,
I do
like,
not understand why I get the money I get from the sales. But I just looked it up. I've sold 286 copies of Wistful Ascending. So you got to figure and then I've been also run ads. So the ads have driven some of that. So I don't know how you want to count that, but that's I probably made something like $1,000. That's over a year since that came out, and it cost me almost 3 for the narration. So Lisa was asking about the profit, and the answer is for me, not yet.
yeah,
Dirk Ashton told me he started making real money when he took his completed trilogy, and put them on Audible as a unit.
oh, as one,
Omnibus? What do they call it? You know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
All
Nah,
three.
omnibuses.
an omnibus.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
Audible, once he did that, it started really selling. Because now you got a lot of hours.
yeah. Well, I think, like you said, you hear people like grind and never make it, and then there's people who grind and they finally do, and then you have the other people who just like throw their stuff on there and it just blows up, and kind of the same thing with YouTube. It's like, like what is his name, Criminale? Like his channel was kind of just the same as a lot of my channel, Bryce, and then he had one video, like what the most I don't know, it was about a shocking book that he read, and he got like 250,000 views, and he got like thousands of subscribers just from one video. And then it's like, so I guess we're all kind of, book wise and, video wise, like, all right, you get several books out there. And I remember the whole thing used to be, once you get 10 books, you'll really start seeing things go up because everything compounds, and hopefully,
I'm trying to release 2 this year, so we'll see what happens.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping to have my next one at the end of April. And then I'm about 60% of the way through book 5, maybe Christmas or early next year.
Hey, pace yourself on that, man. Don't rush that.
I'm working on it, man. But I do think it's about time to get out of here and get some food. But thank you all for hopping on. I got the new tier, so now I can see people, a lot of people from Twitter on here. I don't know if they're all here for Joe because he's like the king of Twitter booktube/Twitter. He's on there just making awesome rants. I only check Twitter for Joe's feed now. But thank you all. 25 of you still here, listen to us talk about random book stuff. But yeah, we will be doing more lives in the future. So make sure you check out Joe's books, his channel. If you want to show off any of your books, if you have them close, that's the one right there.
That's one with 4.
Go out and get them. Check if you want to check me out. J.R. Carroll on Amazon. Go buy the books. JCM Byrne. Go buy the books. And Nathan the Warlock is here to keep us entertained.
And keep in mind, real quick, this is the only time that they're gonna be able to say it. They all love you 3000.
Love you 3000.